Hey guys, this is Ben over at Dog Ranch Resort. Today we are going to learn how to teach our dogs how to play fetch. Fetch is a wonderful, useful tool that I use with every dog to burn that extra energy. It's much easier for my dog to run a mile than it is for me to run a mile with my dog. Just because they got a lot more energy than I do. So today I'm going to use Violet, my puppy. She hasn't played fetch yet. She's got interest in toys, she's got interest in everything. She's a little bit all over the place, which is kind of what we get when we have a new dog or any kind of dog. So what we want to make sure is we want to make sure our dog is interested in whatever item they're going to be fetching. I have this random toy. I've also got a whole bunch of other toys over here that I might bring out if she doesn't show any interest in them. So I make sure they find interest in a toy. Then I tease them a little bit with it. I make sure they really focus on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeak it, and then I'm going to kind of throw it. Good girl. Get her starting to play with it. Then I let her have it. I want her to know that it's great for her to have this item in her mouth. Now, the next part is I make sure that I can get it from her. She's not holding on to it very hard, so that makes it a lot easier for me. Now, after I know that I can get it from her, if I'm having difficulty getting an item from my dog, so I'm going to use a Kong or a cow hoof, a stinky cow hoof. A lot of dogs like the way these taste, and you know, it's food as well. So I'm having a hard time getting it from her mouth. She doesn't necessarily want to share it with me. What I do is I hold my dog by the collar and I keep them still. I don't pull away from them. They get bored of just standing still. Boredom is your best friend when playing fetch because you're taking your dog's emotions from peak level of excitement and arousal to calm, boring, and doing nothing. So what I'm going to do with Violet is I'm just going to hold the collar and wait until she drops it. Then the next step is I make sure I have a leash and collar on my dog. So see how she's getting up trying to get the toy? All I do to start fetch is I throw it a couple feet. Good girl. And then I reel her back in like I'm fishing. Then I hold her by the collar. I wait till she's done chewing on it. And I throw it a couple feet. Good girl. Come on. Good girl. And I encourage her to come back to me. Remember, dogs like to chase things, squirrels, balls, anything else. Now, when my dog wants to recall, I really make sure when they've got an item in their mouth, Violet, good girl, yes, that I move backwards and I encourage them, good, to continue to recall to me. Violet, good girl, yes, good girl, good. Now I'm going to hold her by the collar. Wait until she stops chewing. Good. Ask for some focus, and then I throw it again. I'm not throwing it very far. Now notice, if I don't give Violet any attention, she might not come right back to me, and that's okay. That's what I use the leash and collar for. Good girl. Good girl. I reel her in like a fish, and I bring her back to me. So Violet's bored. She's done playing fetch. When I play fetch with my dogs, I do it 5 to 10 times at most in the beginning. I really want to make sure I perfect 5 feet, maybe 2 feet. Then I move to 10, 20, 30, 100 yards. So we start small. We want to make sure that we have a leash and collar on our dog, a toy that our dog is really interested in, and we also want to make sure that we know when my dog has something in their mouth, I hold them gently by the collar, and I hold the item. I don't try to pull it or rip it from them. Boredom is your best friend in trying to get your dog to drop something. By just standing there, your dog is not going to play. Movement is motivation when playing tug of war. You're tugging, moving back and forth. With Violet, by just standing there, she's going to get bored eventually and say, well, this game's not fun anymore. The second they drop it, I say yes, and I throw it, and they go and chase it. So I'll show you one last time. Violet's lost interest. I've got her toy. Good girl. I've got the leash in my hand. I throw it a couple inches. She goes and gets it. I move backwards. Violet, good girl. I reel her in like I'm fishing. I hold her by the leash and the collar, and she drops it. Yes! And then I throw it again. Good girl. I reel her back to me. Good girl. And we're playing fetch. Yes! Good girl. Very good. Come on. I want to make sure she grabs it so she doesn't do anything too quickly. Now she's trying to enjoy it, and she's given up. So that, in a nutshell, is how to play fetch. If you guys have any questions or need any help with any other dog training, please don't hesitate to ask, or you can always give Dog Ranch Resort a call. Thanks, guys.